Hello, it is Creature, and tonight, what would you do if you had an army of adorable followers that blindly obeyed you and willfully and enthusiastically sacrificed themselves in your name? As you sell their souls to a golden magical man in return for a piece of clothing, will you feel the slightest amount of guilt as you give away Billy the Bison or Kit the Cat to a madman's golden ambitions? Or will you drug your entire cult with minticide mushrooms at the requests of a shroomed out crackhead who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Mind-breaking sacrifices, violations of the Geneva Convention, and just basic human rights, as well as forcing your least favorite follower to eat a bowl of their own shit just because you had a bad day. Oh, and the demonic rituals, resurrections, possessions, and burning through the lands of the Old Faith on an unholy crusade are just some of the things are brought to us by the PCP in the mind of the guys over at Massive Monster Games and published by the Midnight Gremlins of Devolver Digital. Cult of the Lamb. You are the last of the lambs and are about to be executed as to not be used in a dark and evil prophecy that would result in the resurrection of the one who waits. The four bishops pretty much tell you there's nothing personal, kiddo, and it's just business as they cut your head off. Whenever you awake, you find yourself at the feet of the one who waits and he gives you the red crown. With it, you're able to come back to life, kill everybody inside of the temple, and then escape said temple. Once you get out, you meet Ratal, and he tells you that he was sent by the one who waits to give you a little bit of training, as you are now taking up his managerial position at the Dark Gods R Us. He warns you that the lands of the Old Faith are similar to Detroit, and like a middle-class white family, it's time for us to leave. On the way, we save Dave the Deer. He's gonna be our first companion and the first mate of our cult. After we escape, Ratal shows us how to build some basic infrastructure, like a grill. After which, we then are sent back into the lands of the Old Faith to gather some more gold and followers. Along the way, Leshy, one of the four bishops, taunts you, and then summons an abomination and dips out. You kill the monster and save the dude inside, recruiting him to your ranks. When you get back, Ratal shows you how to put the men you gathered to use. Now that we have Amadisius and Throckmorton, we're able to gather a good amount of resources and build some structures like the shrine and the temple, and that's about where our games will be the same. The art in this game is excellent, and there isn't much else to say about it. It looks really good, and the innocent woodland critters thing doing horrific shit really reminds me of like Happy Tree Friends or like the Christmas animals from South Park. The music in this game also slaps, and it's mixed very well with the sound effects so that one is not overpowering the other. In terms of gameplay, this game can be broken up into two parts, the dungeons and the base building. While both are pretty fun parts, it's very obvious that a lot more time and effort was put into the base side of things rather than the actual dungeons in the game. Each dungeon run is going to be around 10 minutes long, whereas you can easily spend an hour and a half between runs just managing your base. The basic loop is this. You unlock a new dungeon, you do the first few runs, then you gather a bunch of new followers and resources, you expand the base, you unlock some new abilities, then you do the last few runs, wash and repeat. In fact, nothing is actually locked off based on what level you're on, so if you wanted to, you could literally just farm the first dungeon for followers, fully upgrade your base and your abilities, and then just run through the rest of the game like a roguelike. In fact, now that I'm looking back at the footage, that's pretty much exactly what I did. I beat the first dungeon, got the max upgrade through the second. The dungeons in this game are pretty underwhelming. That is, however, not to say that they don't look bad. They have a lot of variety and a lot of scenery built into the background, and some of the enemies do seem to be pretty intelligent. In fact, on more than one occasion, it seemed like some of the smaller little cultist guys were actually hiding in the grass to try to get the drop on me. So I did like that. However, the rooms aren't really that difficult, to be honest, especially if you're past the early game. You're going to have some upgrades that are going to make it very easy. Each of the levels is divided into a few different floors, with each floor being either a fighting floor, a resource floor, follower floor, shop floor, event floor, or just a random odd and special floor. Each dungeon is roughly 1 to 6 floors with a boss at the end, and that's it for the dungeons really. I mean, the fighting floors are going to be like your actual roguelike floors, whereas any of the other floors are usually just a single room where you either pick up a new follower or some resources and then just go to the next floor. You do have the ability to turn followers into demons to get bonuses for each of your runs, and you get 2 weapons, 1 normal weapon and then 1 spell. And these are random, so you can't really pick the best combination, so you will need to learn how to change up your playstyle. While this does add a little bit of replayability to the game, it doesn't add enough to warrant constantly going back through the dungeons. Each of the dungeon levels don't really even feel that all original, which, to be fair, it's not that easy to make up something original in this kind of genre. However, I do wish that, 3 out of the 4 dungeons didn't directly remind me of Darkest Dungeon while I was playing them. However, there are a few special rooms, like item rooms in the form of tarot cards, and weapon rooms in the form of a fucking smith, with the occasional super special room that can be accompanying with the odd character or just a random loot room. There are a few interesting things here and there, but for the most part, that's all there really is to say on the dungeons. They lack really any kind of depth, and if you've played something like, I don't know, any kind of roguelike dungeon crawler, you're gonna have a general idea of what's going on in the dungeons in these games. Sorry, it is kind of a letdown in a game like this where it's 2 genres kind of coming together, that there is such a hard line between the two. It's very obvious, like I said earlier, that these dungeons were not the favorite children during development. The main base can be named whatever you want it to be, and whenever you load in, you get a cool little text screen that appears. So every time I come home, I see Anyway, at your base, you can manage your followers. You can either assign them to be builders, gatherers, farmers, cleaners, or worshippers. The AI is pretty good about task prioritization, with the followers helping out in other departments if there's nothing to be done in their own area. Builders build things, cleaners clean, gatherers gather, you get it. However, the worshippers produce devotion, which is one of your main 4 resources, and they are cleanliness, hunger, devotion, and faith. The top 2 are pretty self-explanatory: keep shit clean, keep people fed, sometimes those 2 coincide. Faith, however, is kind of like your happiness. If this goes down, you're gonna get dissenters, and there's 2 ways to deal with them: re-education or execution. And devotion is essentially your tech level. This is essentially how you unlock new buildings and resources. There's also power, which is generated through sermons at the temple, and you will get the equivalent to each of the followers' level, I think. And that power is used to upgrade your weapons and your spells in the dungeon. In the temple, you can also add new doctrines to your cult. These essentially describe what your cult actually believes in, and gives some bonuses or some drawbacks to certain events that happen. You're gonna get the choice between 2, pick whichever one is best for you. However, I find that most of them are pretty situational. The main ones that you're gonna want is the crop growth ritual and revival. Revival can be used to bring back the same person from the dead multiple times, granted that their body is still intact. With ritual resurrection, you can build a solid level of inner circle followers. Do keep in mind that some of the bishops will afflict some of your followers with plague, hunger, or I don't know, tiredness, or just straight up force them to fight you 1v1. As you progress, you should beeline towards farming first, as it'll allow you to keep your cult sustainable. Then from there, get missionaries. They are extremely useful and hard to get resources like meat, and they bring back that resource in bulk. So in my games, these little stations have become the bloodline for my entire operation. Finally, we have the followers. These guys are your little hapless devotees, and there's a good amount that you can do with them. From commanding them to give your money, to sacrificing them to elder gods, to marrying them, to a whole bunch of other stuff. The most important thing is their loyalty. This is their character level. It determines how quickly they can work, how strong they are in battle, how much power they give in sermons, and how strong the bonuses are they give as demons. But overall, the main thing that is important about these little guys is that they are your main workforce. As you upgrade your base, you will need more and more resources and devotion, and these guys will happily supply it. The main interactions that you're going to have with your followers are mainly going to be dealing with quests or blessing / inspiring them to upgrade their loyalty. These can either be one-off quests where you gather some flowers for someone, or someone wants to literally eat shit, or a 3-part epic prank ending in the murder of one of your followers. Oh, and you kind of have to do these quests because declining them means that your faith drops by 35, and that's going to be kind of annoying to try to bring that back up to full. However, the loyalty gain as well as the faith gain is usually good payment for these quests, and some of them do give you items. So there is that. In short, just keep everyone clean, happy, and fed, and you should be fine in this part of the game. I'm also going to get into some spoiler territory, so if you don't want to have the ending spoiled, go here. They're gone? Good. Okay, so throughout the game, it's pretty heavily foreshadowed that the one who waits is the 5th bishop, and that the bishops are actually 5 old gods that either slayed or pushed out all of the other gods. And a good amount of the characters that you meet in the game also wear crowns like yours and the other bishops. However, their crowns are dead, so I'm guessing that's why they're helping you. They're the avatars of some old gods that they... Anyway, the other bishops imprisoned the one who waits 1,000 years ago since he got a little too big for his britches, and they also had you executed so that you couldn't be used to fulfill the prophecy to bring him back. The last 2 bosses fucking straight up tell you this, so you then face off against the one who waits, who does give you the option to return the crown and die, but since I'm not a beta, I told him to go fuck himself. But first, his 2 femboy twinks, who die pretty fucking quickly. Then, again, to the one who waits, who has 2 forms and dies pretty fucking quickly. From there, you and your cult celebrate and the credits roll. I don't know why you guys were so worried about being spoiled by that. That's fucking pretty fucking basic video game shit. I mean, yeah, no, the dark evil god who gave you your power, you're gonna betray them. Oh wow, who'd have fucking seen? Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it for the game in terms of story. I'm gonna give this game a 7 out of 10. It's closer to a 6 than it is an 8, but it's a good game. It's well put together with some cool stuff happening in it, but I mean, it's very apparent, like I've said, that the main focus of the game was put into the cult building side of it rather than the actual roguelike side of it, and there's just not that much replayability in it either. I mean, I know that if I was to start up a new game right now, I would have pretty much the exact same experience as I had going into it. Granted, some of the characters are going to be a little different, but all in all, there's not much replayability to this game. I mean, the dungeons feel extremely limited and extremely short, and while they did put a decent amount of time and effort into the cult building side of it, after a while, it just kind of felt more like a chore than any actual sense of progression. And it does kind of suck that your entire progression is based solely upon what goes on in the cult and nothing having to do with the dungeon. Overall, it's a good game and it's on Steam. And I'd recommend it, but I'd recommend buying it whenever it goes on sale. It's a 20-hour game with limited replayability. And with all that being said, that's kind of it for this video. Cult of the Lamb, yeah, decent game, give it a try, probably whenever it's on sale. And yeah, whenever this thing goes up, I'm gonna be streaming. That's right, I am streaming right now. I am streaming as you speak. I'm sitting there in the stream waiting for people to come in.
So where's this dog I keep hearing so much about? Oh, he's right here. That's a grown-ass man. Yeah, he's a little old, but hey, who said you can't teach old dogs new tricks? Ready, watch this. Speak. What's up, bro? Good boy. Yeah, he just spoke English. That's an actual human being. Yeah, I guess he kind of does have, like, that human-like personality. Because it's a fucking dude. I feel like we're drastically overlooking the fact that this is just a guy on all fours that you keep in your house, or? He's actually a rescue. Did I mention that? What does that even mean in this context? It's a shame. I found him out wandering the streets all by himself one night, so I took him in. I was walking to class one day and he just grabbed me. Okay, what's your name, dude? I call him Snowball. It's actually Dennis. Okay, so this is like some type of kink thing. No, dude, he genuinely thinks I'm a dog. Okay, even then, why are you going along with this? Free rent, free food. Still, dude, that can't be. 401k matching, pension plan, dental coverage. You get dental coverage? Let me tell you, my canines have never looked so good. Huh? Meow. Daddy's little kitten. Okay, fuck that.